My dear friends, I invite you now to step into a deeper understanding of who you truly are, to abandon the illusions of limitation and lack, and to discover a simple truth so profound and yet so overlooked that in just 11 seconds a day you can attract anything you desire. Yes, only 11 seconds. Now, I am not speaking of a technique that requires struggle, effort, or some drawn-out ritual. I am speaking of a conscious, focused moment of feeling, a single inhalation of belief, a pause in your day where the infinite reality within you is acknowledged, honored, and activated. What you are about to hear is not based on theory, but on law. The law of assumption, the law that governs your every manifestation, whether you are aware of it or not. And the beauty of this law is that it does not demand hours of meditation, nor the perfection of some spiritual routine. It asks only that you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even if only for 11 seconds. The number is not magic in itself. It is symbolic. It represents something brief, something that the busy mind can grasp without resistance. But what happens within those 11 seconds, my friends, is nothing short of miraculous. It is a moment where you allow your imagination, your divine faculty, to override what your senses report, and to take command of your reality. You are not your circumstances. You are not your past. You are not even your current bank account, or health diagnosis, or relationship status. You are imagination, and all that you see around you is but the outpicturing of what you have imagined and assumed to be true. This is the secret that the world forgets. Imagination creates reality, not just one day, not just in dreams, but always. And the moment you persist in the assumption that something is true, even if the world tells you it is not, the world must conform, for your inner world governs your outer one. You may say, but Neville, how can just 11 seconds of assumption create a lifetime of wealth, or love, or healing? And I tell you, it is not the length of time that matters, it is the intensity of your feeling and the purity of your focus. A single moment of true belief can override years of doubt. Imagine now, if you will, the thing you most desire. Do not push it away into the future. Bring it close. Let it live in your mind as though it were already yours. You do not need to beg, to hope, or to plead. Simply become the version of yourself who already has it. Close your eyes, breathe, and in this short span of 11 seconds, say to yourself, it is done. Say it not with desperation, but with conviction. It is done. And feel it. Feel the inner relief, the joy, the gratitude. See the scene, hear the sounds, feel the texture of the fulfilled desire. Let this moment be real, not because it is visible to the eye, but because it is undeniable to the heart. This, my friends, is the art of living in the end. Do not confuse imagination with idle daydreaming. Daydreams are fleeting, scattered, undirected. But imagination, when wielded with intention, is the divine creative force itself. All things were first imagined. Every building, every invention, every relationship, every movement of wealth, first imagined, then assumed, then made visible. And so I ask you, will you give 11 seconds a day to that power, to the creative force that breathes worlds into existence? Some of you may still be caught in the old patterns, the habit of reacting to what you see, rather than creating what you wish. But I tell you, you do not need to fix the outer world. You only need to align your inner state. And once that is done, the world will reflect you like a mirror. So many live as victims of circumstance, saying, I'll be happy when I have more money, or I'll feel loved when I find someone who loves me, or I'll believe I'm healed when the doctor tells me so. But the law of assumption says, you must first feel as though it is already so, and then it will be. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer asking for something to happen. You are declaring that it already has. You are moving from hope to knowing, from wishing to being. Let me give you an example. A man who is poor in the eyes of the world does not become rich by worrying about money. He becomes rich the moment he inwardly accepts that he already is. The moment he walks as though wealth were his, speaks as though abundance flows through him, and feels the freedom that only financial ease can bring. That feeling, when held with faith and focus, alters everything. The doors open, the ideas come, the people arrive, the opportunities align. And so I say to you, use your 11 seconds wisely. Each day, choose a moment, perhaps upon waking, or just before sleep, and bring your attention to your desire, not as something you long for, but as something you already possess. Let it be a natural scene, something simple yet vivid. If it is love you desire, imagine your partner's hand in yours. If it is wealth, imagine yourself paying a bill with ease and gratitude. If it is health, feel yourself stretching, dancing, laughing, strong and vibrant, and then release it. Do not cling. Do not check the mirror of the world for signs. Just know it is done. The world in its time will catch up to what you have accepted in imagination, and it will always do so. That is law. You are not here to struggle. You are not here to chase. You are here to create, and creation begins in consciousness. Nothing exists outside of your awareness. Everything that appears out there is but an echo of what you have believed to be true in here. I have seen miracles happen from a single moment of assumption. A woman barren for years conceived a child after simply imagining the sound of a baby laughing in her home. A man deep in debt imagined opening a letter that read "paid in full," and within weeks money came in unexpected ways and cleared what he owed. These are not accidents. These are the outcomes of belief made manifest. The law of assumption is precise. It is not biased, not emotional, not based on good or bad behavior. It responds to your inner state, to what you assume to be true. And that is why a short, focused moment each day is more powerful than hours of worry or years of trying. You must stop identifying with the version of yourself that lacks. That version is only a memory, a habit of thought. You can, in this very moment, become someone new by simply feeling as that new self would feel. And if you persist, even briefly, but daily, that version must become your reality. Do not let the world shake your faith. Let your imagination be the truth, and let the facts rearrange themselves accordingly. Speak to yourself as the one who already has. Walk as the one who already is. Feel as though it is already done, and your world will mirror it back to you with astonishing fidelity. People will say, "But I imagined it, and nothing happened." To that I say, did you feel it real, or did you merely entertain the thought while still clinging to doubt? The law does not respond to words alone. It responds to the belief behind the words. The feeling is the secret. So make those 11 seconds count. Do not treat them as a ritual, but as a sacred act, a union with the divine within. That brief moment, when you feel as if your desire is already fulfilled, is the seed from which entire realities grow. And I promise you this, if you will give just 11 seconds a day to this practice, with sincerity, focus and feeling, your life will begin to change. Subtly at first, then swiftly. The people around you may not understand what has shifted, but you will know. You will know that you have turned within, claimed your birthright, and assumed your desire into being. So let today be the day you begin. Close your eyes, take a breath, and for 11 seconds, feel it done. Not because you hope it will be, but because you know it already is. And as you do this, daily and faithfully, you will no longer seek proof, for your life will become the proof. You will no longer ask whether it works, for you will be living in the answer. You will no longer chase, for all things will be added unto you. You are the operant power. There is no power outside of you. No person, no condition, no circumstance can stand against the assumptions you persist in. And if you will give yourself fully, even for 11 seconds, to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you will discover the truth I have lived and taught, that imagination is the only reality. So I leave you with this simple yet powerful instruction: feel it real, for just 11 seconds a day, and watch how the universe bends to meet your assumption. For it is not the world that creates your belief, it is your belief that creates your world. And all you need is 11 seconds, because in those 11 seconds, you are not doing, you are being. You are not seeking, you are receiving. You are not wishing, you are knowing. And it is this knowing, this confident inner conviction, that unlocks the storehouses of heaven, and pours into your life all that you could ever desire. You do not need to beg the universe. You are not some separate creature hoping for a favor. You are one with the Creator, and imagination is your divine inheritance. It is through imagination that God became man, and it is through imagination that man remembers he is God. The world outside may scream otherwise. It may present you with bills, heartbreak, rejection, setbacks. But remember this, all of that is old news. It is simply the outpicturing of your former thoughts, assumptions, and beliefs. Do not react to the echo. Do not try to fix the shadow. Instead, return to your center and assume again. Assume with power. Assume with authority. Assume for 11 seconds that your desire is already yours, and you will set into motion forces far beyond the understanding of the logical mind. The world will rearrange itself to reflect your new assumption, and it will do so in ways so natural, you will hardly believe it was not always meant to be. For what you accept is true within, the world must mirror without. This is law, immutable, infallible, unbreakable. So I urge you, no matter where you find yourself today, no matter what your current circumstances whisper, choose this moment to remember. Choose this moment to awaken. Choose this moment to declare, I am already the person I desire to be. For your I am is the beginning and the end of all creation. The moment you say, I am rich, and feel it, you have planted the seed of wealth. The moment you say, I am loved and feel cherished, you have become love itself. The moment you say, I am healed, and feel the freedom of wholeness, the healing has already begun. Though the manifestation may seem delayed to the eye, it is already complete in the unseen. You are simply walking through the bridge of incidents that will carry you to its visible fulfillment. So hold your assumption with gentleness, not tension. Let it be natural, not forced. Do not look for signs. Do not measure progress. Simply know, it is done. In 11 seconds, you can rewrite your story. In 11 seconds, you can claim a new identity. In 11 seconds, you can set your future in motion. All it takes is belief, not in some external force, but in your own wonderful human imagination. That is God within you. That is the creative power that formed the stars, that carved the oceans, that birthed every miracle known and unknown, and it lives in you. So the question, my friends, is not can you attract anything you desire. The question is, will you allow yourself to believe you already have it? Will you, for just 11 seconds, silence the doubt, quiet the noise, and feel yourself to be the person you wish to be? Because if you can, and you persist, nothing will be denied you. The world is clay, and your imagination is the hand that shapes it. You are not waiting for life to happen to you. You are the one happening to life. So as you leave here today, remember this truth. Only 11 seconds a day, not a lifetime, not a struggle, just a moment of certainty, a breath of faith, a second of knowing. And the rest, my dear friends, the rest will follow. The rest will follow because it must. That which you have assumed to be true, when felt fully and persistently, compels reality to take form around it. Just as a seed contains within it the full image of the tree, your 11-second assumption contains the fullness of your future. You do not need to understand how it will happen. That is not your concern. Your only task is to assume, boldly, joyfully, and without contradiction. For every time you return to that sacred feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are watering the seed. You are nurturing the invisible into the visible. And the world, though it may seem unchanged at first, is already beginning to bend and shape itself to match your new identity. People, opportunities, chance encounters, unexpected shifts, all are drawn to the vibration you are emanating in those precious moments of assumption. This is why I say to you, do not underestimate the power of a single second. In 1 second of pure imagination, you can change the entire trajectory of your life. You can rewrite your past, transform your present, and define your future. For the moment you feel as if your desire is already yours, you create a new cause, and every cause has its inevitable effect. But let this be clear. It is not repetition alone that makes this work. It is repetition with belief, with acceptance, with surrender. You must feel the truth of your desire, not merely speak it. You must become the person who already has what they want, not just wish for it. In this 11-second practice, you are collapsing time. You are collapsing the illusion of distance between you and what you seek. There is no future to wait for. There is only now. And in this now, you have the power to become. This is why I say, make this a daily appointment with your higher self. Make it as natural as breathing. As you wake, before the world floods in, give yourself 11 seconds. As you lay in bed, Before drifting into sleep, give yourself 11 seconds. And in those seconds, do not beg, do not wonder. Simply know. Know what it feels like to have already received. As you practice this, day by day, something extraordinary will begin to happen. Your inner conversations will change. Your reactions to life will shift. The circumstances that once bound you will begin to dissolve. Because you are no longer reacting to the world, you are creating it. You are stepping into the highest truth of all, that you are the cause of your life, not the effect. You are the author of your experience. You are the power that brings things into being. Once you accept this truth, not just with your intellect, but with your entire being, you will never again look outside yourself for permission to dream, to have, or to be. You will no longer ask, when will it come? For you will understand that it is already here, now in the invisible, waiting for your acceptance to usher it into form. This is the great mystery the world has forgotten, that all of creation is finished. Every possibility exists. Every version of you already lives in the realm of imagination, and you are the selector, the chooser, the decider of which version you bring into this visible world. With just 11 seconds a day, you align yourself with that higher version, not by force, but by feeling. What a glorious feeling it is. Those few seconds become holy, not because of superstition, but because they are moments where you remember your divinity. You are no longer lost in fear or confusion. You are centered in your I am, the name of God in you. You say, I am wealthy, and it is so. I am loved, and it is so. I am free, and it is so. Not because the world said so, but because you did. The outer world is but a servant to your inner assumptions. It cannot help but reflect what you persistently feel to be true. This is why even just 11 seconds, when filled with sincere conviction, are enough to cause the unseen to become seen. You see, it's not about convincing the world. It's about convincing yourself. Once that is done, the world has no choice but to mirror back your certainty. So I tell you, do not wait for the perfect moment. Do not wait for the stars to align. Begin now. In this very instant, you can choose to feel differently. You can choose to inhabit the version of yourself that already has all that your heart longs for. And if you will just return to that state, again and again, even for a breath's length each time, you will witness wonders unfold. For imagination is not passive, it is creative. It is the one power that reshapes your reality without effort, without strain. It is the voice of God within you, saying, it is done. And you, as the imaginer, have only to agree. Not tomorrow, not later, now. And so when the world challenges you, when the facts seem to scream the opposite of your desire, you will no longer be shaken. You will smile and return inward. You will close your eyes, breathe deeply, and for 11 sacred seconds, you will dwell in the end. And in that stillness, you will feel the world bending, not to your force, but to your knowing. In that knowing, you are unshakable. You walk with a quiet confidence, not because of what is, but because of what is already true in the unseen. The world might call it delusion, but you know it is creation. They may say, be realistic, but you know that reality itself is shaped by assumption. What they call imagination, you know as law. What they call fantasy, you know as prophecy. For every great achievement, every love story, every triumph of health, wealth, or joy, it began in someone's imagination. Someone dared to see what was not yet visible. Someone dared to feel what others told them was impossible. And in that moment of daring belief, the invisible blueprint began to form in the matrix of life. You are no different. You are no less powerful. In fact, you are the same divine spark, walking in human form. You are the dreamer, the imaginer, the creator of worlds. And it takes only your focused agreement, just 11 seconds of embodied belief, to awaken this power each day. So do not make this complicated. Do not turn it into a task or a burden. This is not something you must master. It is something you must allow. It is not your effort that makes it work. It is your surrender. You simply surrender to the reality of your wish fulfilled, and dwell there for a few golden moments. That is all. You are not trying to make anything happen. You are not striving or pushing. You are simply stepping into the state where it has already happened. And in doing so, your inner world sends out a vibration so pure, so aligned, that the outer world cannot help but respond. It must, for it is bound by the law. What is this law? That which you accept as true in imagination, you will experience in the world. That which you feel, you attract. That which you assume, you become. This law does not sleep. It is always working, always responding, always creating from your dominant state of being. So take this power seriously, not with fear, but with reverence. Your thoughts are not idle. Your feelings are not meaningless. They are seeds, and your attention waters them. So why not choose to water only those that bring you joy? Why not take 11 seconds each day to water the tree of your highest self? If you do, you will begin to notice something extraordinary. Life will start to feel different, not because it has changed, but because you have. Your assumptions will quietly reorder everything. The people around you will respond to your new energy. The circumstances will shift. What once seemed hard will become effortless, and what once felt distant will now feel inevitable, because you have claimed it, not in the outer world first, but in the only place that truly matters, within. Within is where all creation begins. Within is where the seed of every miracle is planted. And when you assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, even for just 11 seconds, you are watering that seed with the living waters of belief. You may not see the sprout immediately, but it is there, growing in the silence, unfolding beneath the surface. And soon, so very soon, it will break through into your visible world. You will hear someone speak the words you once imagined. You will receive the message, the call, the opportunity that reflects your inner knowing. You will walk into the scene you once visited in your mind, and when it happens, it will feel familiar, not because you've seen it before, but because you have felt it before. It will not feel like magic. It will feel like truth. That is how you will know you are the operant power, that you have never been a victim of fate, but a master of assumption, that life has always been listening, not to what you say, but to what you feel. So the next time you are tempted to react to the world, pause instead. Give yourself those 11 seconds. Go within. Enter the state of the wish fulfilled. Dwell there, not with tension, but with ease. Not with neediness, but with gratitude. And then return to your day, knowing it is already done. You need not force the manifestation. It will come drawn to your assumption like metal to a magnet. You have only to live in the feeling. That is your only work. That is the only investment required of you. Not money, not years of effort, not pleasing the world or proving your worth. Only this, your belief, your stillness, your knowing. When you learn to do this, when you prioritize this short but potent practice, you will watch your reality transform again and again until you are no longer surprised by the miracles, but expectant of them. You will walk with the calm certainty of one who has remembered their true nature. For you are not separate from God. You are God, dreaming and choosing and creating through the vehicle of imagination. So do not waste another moment, waiting for something to change. Be the change now. Feel it now. Live the end, now. And the bridge of incidents will unfold beneath your feet. And all of it, every shift, every blessing, every transformation, can begin with just 11 seconds. Just 11 seconds of presence, of awareness, of full surrender to the reality you have claimed within. And in those 11 seconds, you are no longer the person who wants. You are the person who has. You are no longer the seeker. You are the one who has found. You are no longer asking the world to give. You are declaring, I already received. And that declaration, felt in the silence of your heart, becomes law. The universe, which is only a mirror to your inner state, echoes back, as you wish. No longer do you chase after outcomes. No longer do you beg or bargain with the unseen. You command by assumption. And the assumption is not arrogance. It is faith. The most humble and sacred kind of faith. Faith in your divinity. Faith in your creative power. Faith that what you feel in imagination is more real than what you see in the mirror. The beauty of it all is that the world will never resist your change. It has no power to resist. It is clay, malleable, neutral. It waits only for your instruction, and your instruction is given in feeling. Your world conforms to your dominant emotion, to your sustained inner conversation, not to the fleeting thoughts, not to the occasional wish, but to the emotional state you return to most. This is why I say, make those 11 seconds a home. Return there often. Dwell there lightly, joyfully, not as duty, but as delight. Do it because it is natural to imagine. Do it because it feels good. And when you no longer imagine to get something, but simply because it is who you are, you will find that everything begins to come to you. And it will come with ease, without struggle, without effort, without strain. You will look around and realize the people you once dreamed of meeting are now calling your name. The opportunities you once hoped for are now filling your calendar. The peace you once longed for is now the atmosphere in which you breathe. Because you have shifted from waiting to being, from hoping to having, from asking to declaring. And all you did was feel it real. For just 11 seconds. For just 11 seconds, you returned to your true identity. Not the identity given to you by the world. Not the name, the past, the roles. But the eternal truth of who you are. The I am, the imaginer, the cause. And when you feel from that place, even briefly, you are stepping into your rightful place. As master and not servant. As creator and not victim. In those sacred seconds, you do not seek signs. You do not question how. You simply become. And as you become, the outer world reorganizes itself around your inner conviction. The people shift, the timing aligns, the events unfold, all in response to the vibration you have dared to inhabit. What once looked impossible now becomes ordinary. What once felt far becomes familiar. And you will stand in the middle of your manifestation with the quiet knowing that you brought it forth, not by effort, but by assumption, not by force, but by inner agreement. So don't be deceived by the noise of the senses. They are always one step behind. By the time you see it, it was already completed in the unseen. So why wait to feel good? Why postpone joy, abundance or love? Claim it now, for 11 seconds, and do it again tomorrow, and again the next day. And what begins as a short moment of imaginative faith becomes a state, a way of being that is unshakable, immovable, and magnetic. You don't need to convince others. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Your world is your mirror alone. And if you will simply shift the image you hold within, the mirror must reflect it. Not might, not maybe, must. This is your divine inheritance. This is the key the mystics whispered about. This is the secret the world has dressed in complexity and sold back to you as a struggle, but it is not a struggle. It is grace, and it is already yours. So I say again, take the 11 seconds. Give yourself that moment. Rest in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do it with joy. Do it with expectancy. Do it with the certainty of one who knows that reality bends to belief. And one day, sooner than you think, you will look around and see that everything you once imagined has taken root in your life. You will smile. Not because you are surprised, but because you knew it would come. You knew the law. You lived the law. And now you are reaping its perfect fruit. In that moment, you will realize it was never about getting more. It was always about remembering who you are. The manifestations are wonderful. Yes. The money, the health, the love, the freedom, they are beautiful expressions of the state you've chosen to dwell in. But they are not the prize. You are the prize. Your awareness, your consciousness, your ability to assume and feel and know, that is the gold. You came here not to beg life for crumbs, but to awaken to your power, to remember that you and your reality are not separate things, that life is not happening to you. It is flowing through you, shaped and directed by your every assumption. So what will you assume today? Will you choose the old stories of lack and delay? Or will you give yourself the gift of those 11 seconds, the most powerful seconds of your day, and step into the version of yourself who already has it all? No one can do this for you. No one can feel your wish fulfilled but you. But that is the glory of it. You don't need anyone else's permission. You don't need conditions to change first. All you need is to dare, just for a moment, to feel the reality of your desire as if it were already yours. And from that moment, the world changes. People appear to help you, though they won't know why. Opportunities present themselves, though they seem accidental. Synchronicities multiply, and you begin to see life as a great tapestry that has always been conspiring to confirm your assumption. You'll begin to trust not in circumstances, but in self. Not in external proof, but in internal knowing. And that knowing becomes your peace, your power, your unshakable center. And then you'll no longer wonder if it works. You'll know because you are the proof. You'll walk as the living testimony of the law in motion. You'll become the person others look to and say, "What's your secret?" And you'll smile gently, knowing that the secret was never really a secret at all. It was always you. It was always within, and it always began with just 11 seconds. Yet in those few seconds, eternity unfolds. The illusion of limitation dissolves, and you stand in the full awareness of your creative power. You no longer need to chase anything. You no longer need to strive. You simply become, and by becoming, all that you desire comes to you. What once required effort now flows naturally. What once seemed distant now arrives with ease. You do not force life. You harmonize with it. You don't push against the current. You command it by stillness, by knowing, by the power of assumed identity. What is identity but your most dominant assumption? Who you believe yourself to be, over and over again, is who you become. Not because the world tells you so, but because your inner world imprints itself onto the fabric of reality. There is no separation. As within, so without. So if you wish to change your world, you must change the assumption you return to daily. And what better way to do that than through these short yet potent windows of creation, these sacred 11 seconds of full embodiment. When you feel the truth of your wish fulfilled, even for those brief moments, something inside you shifts. The old version begins to fade. The doubts grow quiet. The fear loses its grip. Why? Because truth is being felt. Not intellectual truth, but spiritual truth. Felt truth, lived truth, and this truth becomes your anchor. Even when the senses try to contradict you, even when the world throws up shadows of the old self, you remain calm, because you know that all of that is just fading residue, echoes of assumptions that no longer live within you. You've chosen anew. You've created a new cause, and the effect must follow. Not might, not maybe, must. So remain faithful, not rigid, but faithful. Let your 11 seconds be a joyful remembering, not a chore. Let it be play. Let it be peace. And most of all, let it be natural. For the more naturally you dwell in the state of your fulfilled desire, the more effortlessly it will express itself in your world. You are not here to try. You are here to know, to feel, to accept. And when you truly accept something within, when you feel it so clearly that you no longer seek it, you have already received it. The world will only catch up. When the world catches up, it will do so in ways that seem astonishing to the logical mind, yet perfectly natural to the soul that assumed its truth long before it appeared. You'll find yourself in conversations that echo your inner dialogue. You'll walk into places that match the scenes you played in your imagination. You'll receive exactly what you need when you need it. Not as a miracle to be questioned, but as the natural outflow of your state of being. You see, my friends, when you assume something fully, you cease to need it. And in that very surrender, it flows to you. Because assumption is not about clinging, it's about embodiment. It's about stepping into the identity of the one who already has, already is, already knows. You may not yet see it with your eyes, but you've already received it in consciousness. And consciousness is the only true substance of the universe. What you hold there, what you nourish and revisit, even for a breath, even for 11 seconds, must become flesh. It must take form. It is law. What a gentle, beautiful law it is. It does not judge. It does not rush. It simply reflects. It reflects you, not your wishes, not your words, but your inner convictions. So speak gently to yourself. Feel kindly toward your desires. Treat them not as strangers, but as guests already seated at your table. And as you do, the outer world will reflect that welcome. You will find that you do not need to control the outer. You only need to master the inner. And mastery does not require effort, it requires awareness. It requires the willingness to pause, to feel, to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and let it saturate your being. Let that state become familiar. Let it become home. So familiar, in fact, that when it shows up in physical form, you feel no shock, only recognition. Because you've been living with it already. You've felt it, you've tasted it, you've known it. And in that knowing, everything changes. Everything changes, not because the world has suddenly become kinder or luck has turned in your favor, but because you have changed. You have shifted your dwelling place from lack to fulfillment, from hoping to knowing, from separation to unity. And that inner shift, however subtle, is the axis upon which your entire world begins to turn. No longer will you beg life to grant your wishes. You will realize that life has always said yes to what you've truly believed. Not the fleeting hopes, not the passing thoughts, but the feelings you've dared to dwell in. Those feelings were the prayers, and your world was the answer. So now you take up your creative power with reverence, with calm, with clarity. You no longer chase, because you already have. You no longer search, because you already are. You simply rest in the assumption, and that assumption becomes your identity, and that identity becomes your experience. And it all begins with the willingness to turn within, not for hours, not for days, but for moments, for seconds, for the 11 sacred seconds that reconnect you to the truth that everything you seek is already within you, the truth that the world is not happening to you, it is responding to you, the truth that your imagination is not fiction, but the very substance of reality, the truth that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the one and only creative act. And the more you honor this truth, quietly, privately, faithfully, the more your life becomes a mirror of heaven, a place where what you feel is real, and what you know within is confirmed without, not by force, not by striving, but by law. The law that never fails, never falters, and never forgets. The law that simply says, as you have assumed, so shall it be done unto you. As you let this truth sink deeper, you begin to feel a stillness unlike any other, a peace that doesn't depend on what happens next, because you know it's already done. You know it is finished. And from that knowing, a subtle joy rises. It is not loud or frantic. It is quiet and steady, the kind of joy that only those who have touched the eternal can ever truly feel. This joy is not based on possession, but on alignment. It is the joy of being one with your desire, not wanting it, not chasing it, but being it. That is the gift of these 11 seconds, a daily return to your throne, a reminder of your creative authority, a doorway into the state where all things are possible, and all things are yours. Let this become your sacred ritual. At any hour, in any place, pause, breathe, feel, know. Imagine not as an act of desperation, but as an act of creation. Assume the feeling of your desire as though it were already so. Let it wrap around your being like the warmest light. Let it fill your breath, your thoughts, your very cells, and then release it. You need not cling to the feeling. You have planted the seed. Trust the soil of consciousness to do its work. Your only task now is to remain faithful to the knowing that it is already done. When doubts arise, do not fight them. Smile gently and return to your inner scene. Return to that short, powerful moment of assumption. 11 seconds of belief carry more power than years of effort rooted in fear, because belief is the true builder of worlds. And you, dear listener, are the architect. You are the architect. And imagination is your tool, precise, obedient, unfailing. Every time you dare to imagine differently, you are reshaping the structure of your reality. Every time you return to the inner state where your desire is already fulfilled, you are rewriting the script of your life. And though the world may not change in that exact moment, it is already rearranging itself in silence, moving in perfect rhythm with your new assumption. You may not hear the footsteps of change, but they are coming. You may not yet see the signs, but they are forming. Beneath the surface of what seems unchanging, an entire universe is responding to your command. Not because you forced it, not because you deserved it through struggle, but because you believed. And belief, pure, steady and quiet, is the most powerful force on earth. This is why I tell you, you need not beg. You need not strive. You need only assume. For 11 seconds a day, enter the feeling of your wish fulfilled with sincerity. Let it be real to you. Let it consume you. Let it feel like home. Then go about your day, not as one who waits, but as one who knows. Because when you know, you are no longer asking. You are simply receiving. The delay no longer matters. The how no longer haunts you. Because you've already become it in consciousness. And once it lives in your consciousness, the world has no choice but to mirror it. The law cannot be broken. It does not fail the one who truly assumes. It simply reflects what you are. And you, dear soul, are always free to be anything you dare to assume yourself to be. This, your entire reality, is waiting on you. Not your effort, not your struggle, not your desperation, but your assumption. In just 11 seconds a day, you can awaken the sleeping power within and command the universe in silence. That sacred moment, when you close your eyes and feel your desire as real, is the moment you claim your divine inheritance. You are not here to chase. You are here to choose. You are not here to wait. You are here to assume. Walk in the state of the wish fulfilled. Return to it again and again until it becomes second nature. Let your imagination be the place you live, and your world will follow. With every breath, every step, every silent affirmation, you are shaping the life that reflects the truth of who you are. The operant power, the divine creator, the dreamer who dreams and then awakens within the dream to find it was always real. Just 11 seconds, daily, faithfully, feelingly. That's all it takes. Assume wisely, for you are creating always. And remember, as Neville said, dare to believe in the reality of your assumption and watch the world play its part perfectly. It is already yours. Now feel it, and so it is.
In this world, as chosen ones, you may often find yourself walking a solitary path, feeling isolated and apart from others. This isolation is not a punishment, but a divine calling. It is a separation ordained by God, meant to serve a higher purpose, one that transcends the limitations of the physical world. To understand this, you must realize that God's ways are not like human ways. His plan is beyond what we can often see or comprehend at the surface level. Your isolation is not to harm you, but to prepare you, to mold you into the person you are destined to be. Many of you might feel the weight of this solitude, wondering why relationships seem to fade away, why friends disappear, or why the world feels distant. This is where most chosen ones find themselves questioning, doubting, and at times even fearing that they have been abandoned. But know this, the isolation you experience is part of a greater unfolding. It is God pulling you aside, away from distractions, away from noise, so that you may hear His voice clearly. In these moments, when you are pulled away from the crowd, it is when God is closest to you. He has chosen to bring you into a quiet space, a sacred space, where He can reveal the depths of His divine plan. God isolates the chosen because He must. You are not meant to fit into the ordinary, for you were created to do extraordinary things. To accomplish this, you must first be separated, removed from the patterns of the world, so that you can become a vessel for higher truths, for deeper wisdom. Just as the seed must first be buried in the dark soil before it can sprout into the light, so too must you go through a period of isolation before your purpose can fully bloom. Do not mistake this period as a time of abandonment. It is, in fact, a time of preparation. God is preparing your heart, your mind, and your spirit for the work that lies ahead. During isolation, you may feel uncomfortable, even restless. But this discomfort is part of the transformation. You are being refined, just as gold is refined in the fire. The fire burns away impurities, leaving behind only that which is pure, that which is valuable. In the same way, God's isolation burns away the things that no longer serve you, the doubts, the fears, the attachments to the old ways of being. You are being purified, prepared for the next chapter of your journey. And though it may be painful at times, it is necessary. You are being transformed into someone who can handle the weight of the divine purpose that has been placed upon your life. God isolates you because He needs you to listen, to be still, and to receive. In the stillness, you will begin to understand that everything is unfolding according to divine timing. You cannot rush this process. Just as a flower blooms in its own season, so too will your purpose unfold at the right time. Trust that this isolation is not a delay but a necessary pause. God is aligning everything in your favor, but first you must be aligned with Him. This is why He pulls you away from the noise, from the distractions, so that you may attune yourself to His frequency, to His voice. Often we associate isolation with loneliness, but chosen ones, there is a vast difference between being alone and being lonely. When God isolates you, He is not leaving you alone. On the contrary, He is inviting you into deeper communion with Him. He is drawing you closer, so that you may lean on Him, depend on Him, and trust Him more fully. You are never truly alone when you are with God. His presence surrounds you, even when you cannot see it. His hand is guiding you, even when you do not feel it. In this sacred solitude, you are being invited into a higher level of intimacy with the divine. It is in this place of isolation where revelations occur, where the veil is lifted, and you begin to see life through the eyes of the Spirit. As chosen ones, you must stop worrying about the isolation. Worry is a sign of mistrust. It is the mind clinging to fear, imagining worst-case scenarios. But God does not work through fear. He works through faith. The path of the chosen one is one of faith, not of sight. You may not always see what is ahead, but you must trust that God is leading you exactly where you need to be. Do not let worry cloud your vision or rob you of your peace. Instead, allow this time of isolation to deepen your trust in God. Trust that He knows what He is doing, that He sees the bigger picture, and that He is orchestrating everything for your highest good. The world may not understand your journey. People may question why you seem to withdraw, why you are no longer participating in the things you once did. But remember, the path of the chosen one is not for everyone to understand. You are being called to walk a different path, one that requires you to detach from the things of the world so that you can focus on the things of the Spirit. This detachment is not a loss, but a gain. You are gaining a deeper connection with God, a clearer understanding of your purpose, and a greater sense of peace. Do not disappear in this isolation. It is tempting when we feel isolated to want to withdraw completely, to shut ourselves off from the world. But this is not what God intends. He does not isolate you so that you will vanish into the background. He isolates you so that you can emerge stronger, more focused, more aligned with your purpose. Use this time wisely. Seek God in the quiet moments. Pray, meditate, and listen. The answers you seek are already within you, waiting to be uncovered. But you must be still enough to hear them. Chosen ones, God isolates you because He has set you apart. You are not meant to follow the crowd, to do what everyone else is doing. Your calling is higher, your purpose is greater, and to fulfill this, you must first be removed from the noise of the world. God is not interested in who you were before. He is interested in who you are becoming. This is a time of becoming more of who you were created to be, becoming more aligned with the divine will, becoming a vessel for God's light to shine through. Do not fight this isolation. Embrace it. See it for what it truly is, a gift of time, a gift of clarity, a gift of preparation. God is doing a work in you, and though you may not see the full picture yet, trust that when the time is right, everything will make sense. You will look back on this period and understand why it was necessary. You will see how the isolation prepared you, how it strengthened you, and how it brought you closer to the fulfillment of your purpose. You may feel misunderstood during this time. You may feel as though no one can relate to what you are going through. But remember, you are not walking this path alone. Many chosen ones before you have walked the same path. They too experienced isolation, but they emerged on the other side stronger, wiser, and more in tune with their purpose. You are part of a divine lineage, a lineage of those who have been set apart for a higher calling. And though the world may not understand, God understands. He sees you, He knows you, and He is with you every step of the way. So stop worrying. Let go of the fear, the doubt, and the need for approval from others. This is between you and God. Your journey is sacred, and it is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust the process. Trust the isolation. Trust that God is doing a work in you that will not only transform your life, but will also impact the lives of others. You were chosen for a reason, and that reason will become clear in time. In this period of isolation, focus on your inner growth. Focus on cultivating a deeper relationship with God. This is a time of preparation, and what you do during this time will determine how you step into the next phase of your journey. Do not waste this time worrying or doubting. Instead, use it to strengthen your faith, to sharpen your vision, and to align yourself with the divine purpose that is unfolding in your life. Chosen ones, God isolates you because He is preparing you for something greater, something that requires you to be fully present, fully aware, and fully aligned with His will. Do not disappear in this isolation. Instead, allow it to transform you, to elevate you, and to bring you closer to the fulfillment of your divine destiny. This is your time, your season of growth, and your moment to shine. Trust the process, trust the isolation, and trust that God is with you every step of the way. As you move through this period of isolation, it's essential to remember that God is always working on your behalf, even when it seems as though nothing is happening. The silence that you may experience during this time is not a void but rather a space where God is cultivating growth within you. This isolation allows you to break free from distractions and truly align with the divine will. And it's here that you begin to tap into the power that lies within you. The power that has always been there but is now being fully awakened. You see, chosen ones, God isolates you because He knows that the path you are on requires focus, discipline, and a level of awareness that can only be achieved through solitude. It's easy to get caught up in the noise of the world, in the opinions and judgments of others, but God knows that in order for you to step into your true calling, you must first step away from those distractions. The world will always try to pull you in different directions, but in isolation you learn to stand firm, to trust your inner guidance, and to rely on the voice of God above all else. This period of separation is also a time for you to deepen your connection with yourself. So often we are conditioned to seek validation and approval from external sources. But when you are isolated, those external sources fade away, and you are left with yourself. This is where true transformation begins. In the quiet, you come face to face with your fears, your insecurities, and your doubts. But you also come face to face with your strength, your resilience, and your faith. It is in this space that you begin to understand that everything you need is already within you. God isolates you because He wants you to understand the power of being alone with Him. There is a sacredness in solitude, a sacredness that allows you to commune with God in ways that are not possible when you are surrounded by the noise of the world. In isolation, you are given the opportunity to listen, to truly hear the whispers of the divine, and to receive the guidance that will carry you through the next phase of your journey. This is a time of divine downloads where revelations are given, insights are unveiled, and your spiritual awareness is heightened. As chosen ones, you must stop worrying about the opinions of others. People may not understand why you are being pulled away, why you seem to be walking a different path, but that is not for them to understand. Your journey is unique, and it is not meant to be validated by others. God is the one who validates you, who calls you, and who ordains your steps. Trust that His approval is all that you need. The opinions of others will fade, but God's plan for your life is eternal. During this time of isolation, you will also begin to recognize that the things you once thought were important no longer hold the same weight. Material possessions, status, and recognition from others lose their significance as you become more attuned to the things of the Spirit. You begin to see that true fulfillment comes from within, from your relationship with God, and from living in alignment with your divine purpose. The things of this world are temporary, but the things of the Spirit are eternal. This is why God isolates you, so that you can detach from the temporary and focus on the eternal. Isolation also gives you the space to heal. Many of you have carried wounds from the past, hurts that have not yet been addressed. In the busyness of life, it's easy to push those wounds aside, to bury them beneath the surface, but in isolation there is nowhere to hide. God brings those wounds to the surface not to harm you but to heal you. He wants you to be whole, to be free from the baggage of the past, so that you can move forward into your destiny unencumbered. This is a time of deep healing, a time to release what no longer serves you, and to allow God to mend the broken pieces of your heart. You may feel like you are losing people during this time, and in many ways you are. But understand that not everyone is meant to go where you are going. God is removing certain people from your life because their season in your journey has come to an end. This is not a loss, but a divine pruning. Just as a gardener prunes a tree to encourage new growth, God is pruning your life so that you can grow into the fullness of who you were created to be. Trust that those who are meant to stay will stay, and those who are meant to leave will leave. This is all part of God's plan. Chosen ones, you are being called to a higher level of consciousness, a higher level of spiritual awareness. This isolation is not just about removing you from the world, it's about elevating you above the limitations of the world. You are being called to see beyond the physical, to tap into the unseen, and to live from a place of divine knowing. This is where miracles happen, where manifestations occur, and where you begin to walk in the fullness of your power. But in order to access this level of consciousness, you must first be isolated. You must be still, be silent, and be willing to let go of the old so that you can step into the new. It's important to understand that isolation is not a permanent state. It is a season, a necessary phase in your journey, but it will not last forever. There will come a time when God will call you out of isolation, and you will step into the world with a new sense of purpose, a new sense of clarity, and a new sense of power. But you must be patient during this season. You must allow God to do the work He is doing in you. Rushing the process will only hinder your growth. Trust that God's timing is perfect and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. In this period of isolation, you are being given the opportunity to strengthen your faith. Faith is not just a belief in God, it is a deep, unwavering trust that God is working everything out for your good, even when you cannot see it. This is the essence of faith, to walk by faith, not by sight. To trust in the unseen, in the promises of God, even when your circumstances tell you otherwise. Isolation strengthens this faith because it forces you to rely solely on God. There is no one else to lean on, no one else to turn to, and in this space, you learn that God is enough. He is your provider, your protector, your guide, and your source of strength. You are being prepared for something greater. God is isolating you because He is preparing you for a role, a mission, a purpose that requires you to be fully aligned with Him. This preparation is not always easy, but it is necessary. You are being equipped with the tools, the knowledge, and the wisdom that you will need to fulfill your divine assignment. Do not despise this time of preparation. Embrace it, knowing that God is shaping you into the person you need to be in order to carry out His plan for your life. Chosen ones, you are being transformed. The isolation is not just about removing you from the world, it is about transforming you from the inside out. God is renewing your mind, refining your spirit, and aligning your heart with His will. This transformation is a process, and it takes time, but when you emerge from this season, you will be a new creation, equipped and empowered to walk in your purpose with confidence and clarity. Do not disappear in this isolation. Do not retreat into the shadows or allow fear to consume you. This is your time to rise, to stand firm in your faith, and to trust that God is leading you exactly where you need to be. The isolation may be uncomfortable, but it is in the discomfort that growth occurs. It is in the silence that revelations are given. It is in the solitude that you are drawn closer to God. Chosen ones, you are being set apart for a reason. God is isolating you because He is preparing you for something greater. Trust the process. Trust the isolation. Trust that God is with you every step of the way. In this sacred period of isolation, you are being called to dive deeper into the mysteries of life and your relationship with the divine. It may feel as though everything familiar is being stripped away, that you are left in the wilderness with nothing but your own thoughts and the presence of God. But understand this, the wilderness is where the most profound transformations occur. It is where you discover who you truly are without the influence of the world telling you who to be. It is where the illusions fall away and the truth of your being emerges. You are being given the gift of seeing yourself clearly through God's eyes, without the distortions of societal expectations and the judgments of others. As chosen ones, you have been set apart for a divine purpose. And that purpose cannot be fulfilled while you are entangled in the distractions of everyday life. There are times when God needs to pull you away from the noise, from the chaos, so that you can hear His voice more clearly. This is why isolation is necessary. It is in the stillness that you begin to hear the whispers of God's guidance, the nudges of the Spirit leading you toward your destiny. In this space, you are being recalibrated, refocused, and recentered on the things that truly matter. The isolation may feel uncomfortable at times, even painful, but remember that growth rarely happens in comfort. Just as a seed must be buried in darkness before it can sprout into the light, you too must go through this season of isolation to emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your divine purpose. The discomfort you feel is not meant to harm you, it is meant to stretch you, to expand your capacity for faith, for love, and for understanding. You are being prepared for a greater calling, and that preparation requires moments of solitude, moments where you are forced to rely on nothing but God and your inner strength. This process is not about punishment, it is about preparation. God isolates you because He sees what you cannot yet see. He knows the path that lies ahead, and He knows what you will need in order to navigate it successfully. This period of isolation is where He equips you with the tools, the wisdom and the resilience that you will need to fulfill your destiny. It is where He sharpens your vision, strengthens your resolve, and deepens your connection to Him. Trust that this isolation is not a delay or a setback, it is a necessary step in the unfolding of your divine purpose. In isolation, you are also given the opportunity to shed the old versions of yourself that no longer serve you. There are aspects of your personality, your beliefs, and your habits that may have been formed through your interactions with the world, but they are not aligned with your true self. This is the time for releasing those parts of you that have been shaped by fear, by insecurity, and by the need for external validation. God is inviting you to step into your authentic self, the self that is free from the limitations of the past, the self that is fully aligned with His will. You may feel as though you are being separated from people, from opportunities, and from the life you once knew. But understand that this separation is divine. God is removing the distractions, the relationships, and the circumstances that no longer serve your highest good. He is clearing the path so that you can walk forward with clarity and purpose. The people who are meant to be in your life will remain, and those who are not will fall away. This is not a loss, but a divine realignment. Trust that everything and everyone that is leaving your life during this time is making space for what is truly meant for you. As chosen ones, you are called to live a life that is different from the world. You are called to operate from a higher level of consciousness, a level where you are guided by faith rather than fear, by love rather than judgment. This is why God isolates you, so that you can develop the spiritual maturity needed to walk this path. The world will try to pull you back into its ways, but in isolation you learn to stand firm in your faith, to trust in the unseen, and to live from a place of divine knowing. You begin to understand that your power does not come from external circumstances or the approval of others, it comes from within, from your connection to the divine. In this time of isolation, you are also being called to cultivate patience. The journey of a chosen one is not a sprint, it is a marathon. There will be times when it feels as though nothing is happening, when the promises of God seem distant, but it is in those moments that your faith is being strengthened. Patience is not about waiting idly, it is about trusting in the process, trusting that God's timing is perfect, even when it does not align with your own. In isolation, you are being taught the art of surrender, the ability to let go of your need for control, and to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This isolation is also a time for reflection. You are being given the space to look inward, to examine your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions. It is a time to assess whether you are living in alignment with your true self, or if you have been swayed by the expectations of the world. God is giving you the opportunity to course correct, to make adjustments, and to realign yourself with His will. This is a time for deep introspection, for asking the hard questions, and for seeking the answers that come from within. You may feel as though you are in a period of waiting, but understand that waiting is not wasted time. God is using this time to prepare you, to mold you, and to shape you into the person you need to be in order to fulfill your divine assignment. This waiting is a time of growth, a time of strengthening, and a time of deepening your faith. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, and aligning circumstances in your favor. Just because you cannot see it does not mean that it is not happening. During this isolation, you will also begin to understand the importance of detachment. As chosen ones, you are being called to live in the world, but not be of the world. This means that you must learn to detach from the material, from the external, and from the things that do not contribute to your spiritual growth. Isolation teaches you the power of detachment. It shows you that your worth is not tied to your possessions, your status, or your relationships. Your worth comes from your connection to God, and that is something that can never be taken away. You may feel alone during this time, but understand that you are never truly alone. God is with you every step of the way, guiding you, supporting you, and protecting you. This isolation is not meant to make you feel abandoned, it is meant to draw you closer to God. In this space, you are being invited to lean on Him in ways that you never have before. You are being called to deepen your trust, to strengthen your faith, and to rely on Him as your source of strength. This is a time of divine revelation. In isolation, you are being given the opportunity to receive insights, wisdom, and guidance that will propel you forward on your journey. This is a time when God speaks to you more clearly, when the noise of the world is silenced, and you are able to hear His voice more distinctly. Pay attention to the signs, the dreams, and the messages that come to you during this time. They are not coincidences, they are divine communications meant to guide you on your path. You are being called to rise above the limitations of the world and to step into your divine power. This isolation is preparing you for something greater, something that requires you to be fully aligned with your purpose and with God's will. Trust the process, trust the isolation, and trust that everything is working together for your good. This is your time to be still, to listen, and to allow God to do His work in you. As chosen ones, you are being set apart for a reason. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a preparation. God is shaping you, molding you, and preparing you for a divine assignment that requires you to be fully aligned with Him. Do not resist this process. Embrace it, knowing that it is leading you toward your destiny. Trust that God is with you, guiding you, and supporting you every step of the way. You are being prepared for something greater, something divine, and this isolation is a necessary part of that preparation. Trust the process, trust God, and trust yourself. In this space of isolation, it is important to realize that what may seem like loneliness is actually divine protection. You are not isolated because you are forgotten, you are isolated because you are chosen. There are battles that God is shielding you from, relationships that He is pulling you away from, and situations that He is redirecting you out of. You may not fully understand it now, but there is a reason for every closed door, every unanswered prayer, and every moment of solitude. In these moments, God is protecting you from things that would hinder your growth, your progress, and your alignment with His will. This isolation is a form of divine protection, a shelter from the storm, and a safe haven where you can recalibrate and prepare for the next chapter of your life. God isolates you because He knows the weight of the assignment on your life. As a chosen one, your path is not like that of others. There is a higher calling on your life, and with that calling comes a greater responsibility. God is not interested in quick fixes or temporary success. He is interested in the long game, in the fulfillment of your purpose over the course of your life. This is why He takes the time to isolate you, to prepare you, and to equip you for the journey ahead. He knows the battles you will face, the challenges you will encounter, and the obstacles that will come your way. In this time of isolation, He is strengthening you, refining you, and preparing you for the battles that lie ahead. You may feel as though you are missing out on life, that while others are moving forward, you are standing still. But understand this: God's timing is perfect. While it may seem like nothing is happening, everything is unfolding exactly as it should. There is a divine timing for everything. And just because it is not happening in your time does not mean it is not happening. God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, aligning circumstances, and preparing the way for you. This isolation is not a delay, it is a preparation. It is a time for you to build your spiritual muscles, to deepen your faith, and to develop the resilience that will carry you through the challenges ahead. In this period of isolation, you are also being called to release control. As chosen ones, we often feel the need to be in control, to have everything figured out, and to know exactly what is going to happen next. But God is calling you to surrender that need for control and to trust in His plan. This isolation is a time for you to let go of your expectations, your timelines, and your need for certainty. It is a time for you to lean into faith, to trust that God's plan is greater than anything you could imagine, and to believe that He is working all things together for your good. This is a time for surrender, for letting go of the need to have all the answers, and for trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The isolation you are experiencing is also an invitation to deepen your relationship with God. In the busyness of life, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the demands of the world, in the pursuit of success, and in the approval of others. But in isolation, God is calling you back to Him. He is inviting you to spend time in His presence, to seek His guidance, and to deepen your connection with Him. This is a time for prayer, for meditation, and for listening to the still, small voice of God. In this space, you will find the peace, the clarity, and the direction that you need to move forward. As chosen ones, we are not called to walk the same path as everyone else. We are called to a higher standard, to a deeper level of faith, and to a greater level of responsibility. This is why God isolates us, because He knows that we cannot fulfill our purpose if we are distracted by the things of the world. He knows that in order to walk in our calling, we must be set apart, we must be focused, and we must be fully aligned with His will. This isolation is a time for you to refocus, to realign, and to recommit to the path that God has set before you. You may feel as though you are being stripped of everything familiar, that the life you once knew is falling away. But understand that this stripping away is necessary for your growth. God is removing the things that no longer serve you, the relationships that are holding you back, and the circumstances that are not aligned with your purpose. He is clearing the way for something greater, something that is in alignment with His plan for your life. This is not a time of loss, it is a time of preparation. God is making space for the new, for the things that are truly meant for you, and for the opportunities that are in alignment with your highest good. In isolation, you are also being called to cultivate inner strength. The path of the chosen ones is not an easy one. There will be challenges, there will be obstacles, and there will be moments of doubt. But in this time of isolation, God is teaching you to rely on your inner strength, to trust in your own resilience, and to believe in your ability to overcome anything that comes your way. This is a time for you to build your spiritual muscles, to strengthen your faith, and to develop the fortitude that will carry you through the storms of life. In this space, you are learning that your strength does not come from external circumstances or from the approval of others. It comes from within, from your connection to God. This period of isolation is also a time for you to redefine your priorities. In the busyness of life, it is easy to lose sight of what truly matters. We get caught up in the pursuit of success, in the desire for recognition, and in the need for external validation. But in isolation, God is calling you to reassess your priorities, to realign your focus, and to remember what truly matters. This is a time for you to let go of the things that are not serving your highest good, to release the need for external approval, and to focus on the things that are in alignment with your purpose. This is a time for you to refocus on your relationship with God, on your spiritual growth, and on the things that truly matter in the grand scheme of your life. In isolation, you are also being given the opportunity to heal. There may be wounds from the past, unresolved pain, or unhealed trauma that you have been carrying with you. In the busyness of life, it is easy to push these things aside, to avoid dealing with them, and to distract yourself with external pursuits. But in isolation, God is giving you the space to heal, to release the past, and to step into a new chapter of your life. This is a time for deep healing, for letting go of the things that have been holding you back, and for stepping into the fullness of who you are meant to be. You may feel as though you are in a period of waiting, but understand that this waiting is not wasted time. God is using this time to prepare you, to equip you, and to mold you into the person you need to be in order to fulfill your purpose. This waiting is a time of growth, a time of strengthening, and a time of deepening your faith. Trust that God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events, and aligning circumstances in your favor. Just because you cannot see it does not mean that it is not happening. Trust that God's timing is perfect, and that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. In this time of isolation, you are being given the opportunity to reconnect with your true self. In the busyness of life, it is easy to lose sight of who you truly are, to get caught up in the expectations of the world, and to forget your divine nature. But in isolation, God is inviting you to rediscover your true self, to reconnect with your soul, and to remember the truth of who you are. This is a time for self-reflection, for introspection, and for deepening your understanding of yourself. You are being given the space to rediscover your passions, your purpose, and your divine calling. This isolation is not a punishment, it is a gift. It is a time for you to grow, to heal, and to transform. It is a time for you to deepen your relationship with God, to strengthen your faith, and to align yourself with your divine purpose. This is a time of preparation, a time of recalibration, and a time of spiritual growth. Trust that everything is happening for a reason, and that this isolation is a necessary step in your journey as a chosen one. Trust the process, trust God, and trust that you are being guided toward your highest good. As you continue to walk through this season of isolation, it is crucial to understand that the silence around you is not a void, it's a divine conversation happening between you and God. In these quiet moments, you may feel like your prayers aren't being answered, or that your cries for help are falling on deaf ears. But know this: God is always listening, and more importantly, He is responding in ways that you might not yet comprehend. What seems like a pause in your life is, in fact, a moment of profound spiritual growth. In the isolation, you are being given the opportunity to hear God in a way that is not possible when you are surrounded by the noise and distractions of the world. The stillness is not a punishment or a sign of abandonment, it is a chance for you to cultivate a deeper awareness of God's presence. In the silence, your soul begins to resonate with the truth that God is always near, always working in your favor. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but His presence is constant and unwavering. It is in these moments of quiet that you can begin to hear the subtle whispers of divine guidance, the gentle nudges that lead you toward your destiny. Sometimes God speaks in a thunderous voice that shakes the foundations of your world, but more often than not, He speaks in the soft, quiet moments when you are alone with Him. This isolation is a divine classroom. It is here, in this solitude, that you are being taught some of the most important lessons of your life. The greatest teachers are often not the loudest voices, but rather the quiet spaces where you are forced to confront yourself, your fears, your doubts, and your deepest desires. In this sacred space, you are learning patience, perseverance, and trust. Patience because you are realizing that good things take time, perseverance because you are building the strength to keep going even when the path is unclear, and trust because you are learning to rely on God's plan even when it doesn't match your own. You may be wondering why the isolation is so long, why the waiting seems endless. But remember, great things take time to manifest. Just as a seed must be buried in the ground and remain hidden before it can sprout and grow, so too must you be hidden for a time. This hidden season is not a period of inactivity, it is a time of preparation. In the same way that a seed must break through its shell and root itself deeply before it can rise toward the light, you are in the process of rooting yourself in faith, in purpose, and in divine truth. The chosen ones are often hidden away for a time because their purpose is too great to be rushed. The weight of your calling requires deep preparation. You cannot rush the process of becoming who you are meant to be. Like a diamond that is formed under immense pressure over time, your purpose is being shaped and refined in this season of isolation. The pressures you feel are not meant to crush you, but to refine you, to bring out the brilliance and strength that is already within you. Trust that the time you are spending in isolation is necessary for your transformation. In this time of solitude, God is working on your heart. He is softening the rough edges, healing the wounds you may have carried for years, and preparing your spirit for the greatness that lies ahead. Sometimes we are so focused on the external circumstances of our lives, our careers, relationships, and material success that we neglect the internal work that needs to be done. But God knows that in order for you to walk in the fullness of your calling, your heart must be whole, your spirit must be strong, and your mind must be aligned with His will. This isolation is a time for inner healing, for soul deep restoration, and for spiritual alignment. The temptation to disappear during this period is strong. You may feel like giving up, retreating from your purpose, and letting go of the dreams you once held so tightly. But don't let the silence convince you that God has forgotten you. Don't let the solitude make you believe that your purpose no longer matters. This is precisely the time when you need to stand firm, to hold on to your faith, and to trust that God is still moving in your life, even when you cannot see it. Remember that God isolates His chosen ones not to diminish them, but to prepare them for something far greater than they could ever imagine. In moments when the weight of isolation feels unbearable, turn your focus inward and upward. Use this time to deepen your relationship with God, to grow in your understanding of His Word, and to cultivate a deeper faith that can carry you through any storm. The isolation is a gift, even if it doesn't feel like one right now. It is an opportunity to grow in ways that are not possible when you are surrounded by distractions. It is a time to strengthen your connection with God, to refine your purpose, and to prepare for the next chapter of your life. You may feel like you are missing out on the opportunities and experiences that others are having, but understand this: what is meant for you will not pass you by. The doors that God has destined for you to walk through will open when the time is right, and not a moment before. You are not behind, you are exactly where you need to be. The isolation is not a detour, it is part of the journey. Trust that God's timing is perfect, and that the opportunities He has for you are far greater than anything you could imagine. In this time of waiting, let go of the need to compare your journey to that of others. Your path is unique because your purpose is unique. God is not asking you to walk the same path as everyone else. He is asking you to walk the path that He has specifically designed for you. This is why the isolation is necessary, because you cannot fulfill your divine purpose if you are too focused on the world's expectations. You are being set apart for something greater, and that requires a season of separation. As difficult as it may be, learn to find peace in the isolation. Learn to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. The isolation is not a punishment, it is a preparation. It is a time for you to become the person you need to be in order to fulfill the purpose that God has placed on your life. Trust the process even when it doesn't make sense. Trust that God's plan is greater than anything you could ever imagine. And trust that when the time is right, you will emerge from this isolation stronger, wiser, and more prepared for the blessings that are coming your way. Remember, the greatest transformations often happen in the quietest moments. Just as a caterpillar must retreat into its cocoon before it can emerge as a butterfly, so too must you retreat into this season of isolation before you can fully step into your divine purpose. This is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a new chapter. Embrace the isolation, for it is in this sacred space that you are being transformed into the person you were always meant to be. As you continue to walk through this season of isolation, hold on to the truth that God is with you every step of the way. You are not alone, and you are not forgotten. You are being prepared for something far greater than you can imagine. Trust the process, trust God's plan, and trust that your breakthrough is closer than you think. As you move through this period of isolation, recognize it as a profound blessing in disguise. It is not meant to break you, but to build you into the person who can fully step into the purpose God has laid out for you. This time of separation is sacred, is where you reconnect with the divine, strengthen your faith, and heal the parts of you that need restoration. Trust that you are never truly alone. God is with you, guiding you every step of the way. In this space, your spiritual foundation is being fortified, your path is being clarified, and your heart is being prepared for greater things. Do not resist this process or see it as a delay. Instead, embrace it as the divine setup that it truly is. Every moment of solitude is an opportunity for growth. Every unanswered question is an invitation to deepen your trust in God's perfect timing. Let go of the urge to disappear, and instead stand firm in the knowing that God is shaping you for the extraordinary. What is ahead of you is far greater than what is behind. Believe in the power of this divine isolation and know that your breakthrough is on the horizon.